Reunited, and it feels so good. I forgot about the weird camera angles. Shout out to our director, Jack, who loves to make these happen. Caedrel, it's good to be back.
There's still a wall between us,
I was
though.
going to say, I want to have like an on-screen hug moment, but we can get a tender hand.
Yeah,
there it is. The tender hand for all you who've been waiting for this moment. And we certainly have as well. But of course, we have a game to cast, my friend.
Yeah.
Misfits versus Excel, 2-1 versus 1-2. You heard it from the desk. Personally, I feel like this could go either way, but Excel's struggles to close out when they looked like they were firmly in control last week are the #1 thing on my mind.
Yeah, closing out the game is what you got to do. You got to explode the Nexus. Excel put up a fight against a lot of the teams. We're very, very close. Only managed to get 1 win. And I think the importance of this game speaks for itself, because when you think of the sixth spot in playoffs, you kind of think of these two teams, right? Mad, Rogue, G2 Fnatic, and Vitality as the top 5 come to mind. Who's the 6th spot? I think Excel and Misfits are the 2 teams which will come to people's mind as the teams that contest that spot. And having a head-to-head against each other is so important. If one of these teams wins and then they win the second time they face, if they have the same scoreline, the head-to-head is what matters.
Yeah, and ultimately that's one set of circumstances, something that we have to consider. And right now, these players are probably just thinking of this as another match. It's only when you look that far ahead that this could have those big playoff implications. It is still only both of these teams' 4th games, so we'll keep an eye on exactly what's going to unfold. For now, the Corki coming out, the Twisted Fate also going to be banned away.
Yeah, Corki being first picked in the LCK a lot, I think people have started to realize on this patch that, wow, this Corki build, AP Corki with the Ludens is just so powerful. So I want to take that away instantly. I mean, when you're playing long-range hyper carries like Jinx and Aphelios, sometimes even champions like Ezreal are coming up because Jarvan's in the meta, Thresh's in the meta, and the more range you can get, the better. So the Corki just fits that so well. The package so powerful for early Dragon fights, Herald fights, and Yuumi taken off the board from XL from Mersa.
Gotta say, don't mind seeing Yuumi banned out. Do always love seeing more proactive playmaking sports, even if some of these guys have found success on the more defensive options. Caitlyn also taken away, limiting some of the lane pressure bot side options as well. So certainly a lot of powerful picks left up and available. Diana or Renekton, obviously 2 of the big ones that showed up, especially in day 1 of LEC last week. Fell down a little bit in prio as the weekend went on, but 2 champions I certainly have my eye on.
Yeah, expecting a Renekton ban here, last from XL. Don't want to give away... Oh no, they're going to ban a Kali instead, so calling a bit of a bluff here. There's so many overpowered champions available. Thresh comes to mind when Jinx and Aphelios are up. Jarvan, Lee Sin, Zhao, Renekton is up. What does Misfits want to first pick? You have to make sure that you balance your first pick out with your 2-3 rotation. If Misfits first pick Renekton here and XL take away Diana, Shlatan has to be ready with something like Nidalee, right? So you have to be that 1 step ahead. So if they go for this first pick Lee Sin, this is the jungle matchup they want, and they probably have an answer on 2-3 in case things like Renekton are picked up.
And I love it because it sets up Shlatan to be such a huge, proactive playmaker for the team. Lee Sin is the one champion where I feel like your skill 100% shows through. He can be useless, or he can be the hyper carry that every team needs to set up those plays, to find the big kicks, to find the angles. That said, you are trading over kind of the uncertainty factor that I have when it comes to Lee Sin, because he can be great, he can be underwhelming, versus Zhao, who feels super, super reliable regardless of who's playing him. And now in Aphelios for Patrik, the most consistent performer on the side of Excel.
Yeah, just interesting thing here in the draft, because I think Excel is calling Misfits' bluff here. They know they can't pick things like Diana and Nidalee. You first pick Lee Sin. Do you want to play Renekton, Lee Sin, top jungle? Well, I think on 3 pick here, Excel can go for something like Graves or just a frontlining tank that can build armor, or even Gwen if they want to. So they're just leaving that champion up, saying, well, we know you can't pick it, and we don't really want it ourselves. And they're just going to go for their AD in jungle. What does Misfits do here? With LeBlanc down, I feel like you've drafted yourself into a small hole here, because you banned away your own LeBlanc Lee Sin, but something like Jinx Thresh would work.
Would also take the Thresh away from the Aphelios, but would open up the more defensive options like the Lulu. Really interesting situation that it feels a little bit like Misfits have backed themselves into a corner, at least in the first phase of this draft. Definitely want to see what the option is here. Instead of just opting for the mid laner, feeling comfortable that whatever support gets picked on the opposite side, they will still have some options.
Yeah, I think what Misfits were thinking there is if we pick Jinx Thresh, they could pick Aphelios Nautilus on 3, and that's not really a good lane for the Jinx. Want to avoid that matchup, so we'll just pick our mid laner instead and drop support till 4-5 so we can ban away perhaps supports. We'll see what they opt to do. But for now, XL, do you want to take the Thresh, as you said, or do you want to just match mid lane here? For Nukeduck, we have seen his Corki, his LeBlanc, both banned away, but no, they're going to take the Thresh, expecting XL here to ban the Nautilus.
And this kind of shows us Excel's priority on the bottom side of the map, in that they're now going to lose out on 2 mid lane bans. Misfits can take away whatever they do not want to play against, but the upside is they now get to ban 2 support champions for Mersa if they so choose, to make sure that bot lane is the best matchup possible.
Yeah, interesting though, because the Jinx can play so many different ways, can't you? We've seen things like Jinx Lulu, we've seen Jinx Karma, we've seen Jinx with a melee support, so We'll see what they opt to do in bot lane. A little bit more engaged. Vetheo was talking about it, you know, when you're playing carry tops and Lee Sin, engage needs to come from somewhere else because EU teams just struggle a little bit when there's no engage because the game becomes a lot more complicated and actually forcing fights and being able to fight around objectives. But Jay's already taken away from HiRit. I think that's probably one of his most played champions ever. So I want to make sure he's pinched on the blind picks.
Well, and it's interesting too because we have the two Jaces that both really struggled in lane phase last week, but really showed up for their teams mid lane, mid game and late game, and HiRit and Finn. So interesting to see that banned. Ornn also taken off the board again, taking away reliable engage options, limiting front to back team fighting. Frankly, I like to see it. I wonder if Gragas is going to rear his head more this week, especially potentially on the side of Misfits, again, offering yet another engage option, as well as being solid into the double AD options that Excel have drafted so far. But I was expecting a lot more bot side focus. Instead, you know, top lane ban, Lulu ban. Now we'll have to see Misfits. Do they want to ban anything in mid lane, or are they just very comfortable throwing Vetheo into the fire?
Yeah, they're obviously scared of Jinx, Lulu bot lane. As much as maybe the Aphelios Thresh can get the push, they're obviously worried that scaling is a big factor. I mean, all of Excel's games, I think, went to 34, 35 minutes, and that's at least 4 or 5 items on the AD carries. Are we going to get Viktor versus Azir here? I hope not. Mid lane expect to be picked up here for Excel, so they can counter pick top. Blinding Caedrel here, picking Caedrel in just one AP lane would be difficult. We'll see what Nukeduck ends up going for. A lot of mid laners banned.
I really... Okay, Vex locked in. I gotta say, this champion was really underwhelming last week. And while there is a dash champion, and technically this, as much as I love that passive, this champion isn't just all about playing against champions with dashes, but she feels, I will say, unreliable based on what we saw last week. Yeah,
I was talking to a few LEC mid laners, and they're saying, well, Vex, yeah, it's good into champions with dashes and things like this, but when you play against the Syndra and a Viktor, the lane phase is a bit tough. So not picking for lane there, picking for team comp. Misfits gonna go for the Leona as expected, getting some engage in the support role. Now the biggest question is, what top lane champions are we gonna see here? Is HiRit gonna go for his Irelia, his Gnar? Quickshaw said he doesn't want to see any more HiRit Gnar, but if you're blinding top here, it does get a bit complicated, but no, Gwen will round out their comp. And now it's up to Excel. You've already got a Vex that's diving in as Zhao. Do they want another diver?
Definitely would be an option. Again, neither team fully focused on one damage type. Would be a lot of AP damage on the X side of Excel, but it wouldn't matter because you have an Aphelios to back it up. That said, I've really got my eyes on this top lane matchup because here is a guy that we had high expectations from after that best of 5 versus Ottawamne last playoffs. Was an up and down week, to be certain. Got bodied by Ottawamne in their matchup. Now the Graves coming in to go toe-to-toe with the Gwen. Huge opportunity for Finn to show what he's got. Had an excellent game in the final game of last week. Need to see if he can double down on that performance.
Well, this game is... both drafts are just so interesting to me because you've got Misfits on one hand with double AP solo laners, which, I mean, the Gwen will probably be matching the Graves on side lane, but their team fight is so strong because of how much zone control they have with Jinx, with Viktor, Lee Sin kick threats, and Leona engage. Whereas XL, it feels like their point and click engage is not as simple. You know, you need an Aphelios gravity gun, a Thresh hook, maybe Zhao can find a Q3 knock-up onto someone, or Vex can find a pick. So XL, more sort of single target damage picks, whereas Misfits, if you run at them in a ball, they're just going to mow you down.
Yeah, and frankly, I'm just really excited to see what Shlatan can do on this Lee Sin. It's one of his, it is his most played champion. It was banned all 3 games against him last week. Now he has an opportunity to show whether or not this is a pick that should be feared, that has to be respected, or if it's a bait that can be used against him to draft, help Excel secure things like the Aphelios and the Thresh on the bottom side. A lot of questions for both of these teams as we get ready for this first game. Certainly set to be explosive, 2-1 to 1-2. Let's take a look who will come out on top. And here we go on to Summoner's Rift. Now, you can see we're coming in 40 seconds, pretty hot here. Bottom side, 2 wards placed, no kills. See if anyone has a sweeper, but obviously vision control on the bottom side when you are Thresh against Leona or Leona against the Thresh. Very important. Controlling that middle bush, very crucial for early lane control.
Yeah, Mersa dropped the ward, but he didn't base for sweeper. Advienne did. I mean, it helps out a lot, especially when you have the push. The sweeper does more when you have the push, right? Advienne will have the push in this lane with Thresh, as expected. I think Lee Sin, Shlatan going to start on bot side as well. And if they can get the push, the sweeper just helps deny any wards in tri-bush to make it so their jungler can pressure bot side harder. But I think XL know Misfits are in this bush. They saw them walk over the wall. The problem is they don't know if they're in the second or the third brush, but Neon's just going to show. And we'll see how it goes. But double ranged into the Leona.
Yeah. Difficult, of course, because a lot of times Aphelios level 1, he's got good guns, but he doesn't have any real abilities. That said, Jinx level 1 doesn't really have any real abilities either. So going to be pretty tame, I think, in terms of AD carry trading. You can see both of them just trying to hit the wave. Free autos on Advienne when Neon gets the chance. Important to try to minimize the range disadvantages of Leona as much as possible. Fight for the level 2, but you can see Advienne and Patrik stepping forward, knowing that they have the push, knowing that they have the advantage. Third melee creep is the second wave, what you have to keep your eyes on.
Yeah, Mersa can't really walk up to the wave, and this matchup does get a little bit explosive when the Leona tries to engage on the Thresh. No aftershocks, of course, so the Flay is so important when Leona tries to pop the E. They're just trying to hug this bush as much as possible. The ward's going to run out for XL. Wow, this is intense. I don't know why I'm getting this feeling of intensity in this bot push.
It's because you've been casting from home.
That's true, actually. It's probably the studio.
Everything's more explosive. And similarly, it feels like high stakes. If one of these scaling AD carries gets ahead early on, it's a big deal. For now, just a level 2, but a poke onto Patrik. But the kills drops down here on the bottom side. Things could shift very, very quickly.
Yeah, Markoon is going to get spotted on that ward. Did go red Krugs Raptors, pathing into bot. Shlatan did red Raptors into top side. We'll take Grom to get level 3 and then clear out his blue and wolves as expected. Finn getting early top push, of course. This matchup's been played so much in the eastern regions. The thing is, with this matchup, it's quite confusing because sometimes teams will pick Graves into Gwen, and then other times teams will pick Gwen into Graves. So with the Ghost, Gwen will run the Graves down, and then the Graves just looks to disengage and get the lifesteal, keep the push, and just be sort of like a bruiser-ish in teamfights. Yeah,
and we've seen what happens if a Grave gets ahead. There's so much lifesteal, it feels like he's just about unkillable, can easily get onto your back line. But that said, a Gwen with Ghost, if she gets ahead, similar story on the opposite side. So it feels like some potentially volatile lanes here, which naturally means we have to look a little bit towards the jungle. You can see Xin Zhao clearing to the bottom side, standard from what we saw last week. Markoon and Advienne known to spend a ton of time together, and Patrik, definitely a guy who stepped up for Excel last week.
Definitely did. I think Patrik was pulling really high-level numbers compared to... I mean, if you look at him in every split, Patrik is just the carry for XL. Even back when I was playing on XL 2 years ago in 2020, it's just get Patrik ahead. The meta suits it. Bot lane is a good role to get ahead because it unlocks the map a lot easier than top, and you can move your bot lane around the map. Your support is unlocked. And Patrik, of course, just pumping out so much damage. You remember his Saya performance, 2v2 killing. The Vitality bot lane, him and Advienne have been on the same page, it looks like, towards the end of week 1. And now keeping up this bot push, and Advienne teaming up with Markoon.
Yep, you can see Markoon moving into the jungle. Sadly, will not spot the Lee Sin, but it looks like now he's going to see the Krugs get started. So good information on where Shlatan is at this exact moment. Patrik's going to go now. It's not the time to step forward. You can see I love this from Advienne. Just standing super far back. Doesn't need to step forward and try to flay any Zenith Blade. Just waits there, has the Lantern ready at a moment's notice, and might even be able to bait some cooldowns here if Neon and Mersa try to step forward. But they will not take the risk and instead are going to back away.
Oh, Drakos, I feel like something's missing. Something's just missing on the screen.
Yeah. Oh, what's that? Oh, that's good.
Draw a box.
Yeah, there it is. There it is.
Curving. Okay, cool.
Wow. Okay.
Is that better?
You're not much of an artist, but yeah. So
is that better? It feels right now, doesn't it?
It does. Because if you're on 11-2 right now, you know something's off. So that's for you, 11-2 enthusiasts.
12-1.
12-1. That's the one. 12-2. I mean,
the boxes are everywhere.
The first number, they've all started to blur together in my old age.
Yeah, the patch came out.
Is this the Black Cleaver season, or was it 8 seasons
Do you remember the season that you could stack Black Cleavers, and you had like 5 of them because the stats were just so good and there was no unique passive?
Yeah, League of Cleavers. Or Sunfire Cave. Stackable items, definitely a big problem in the past. That's why we got so many unique passives, if you're wondering why.
So many different ones as well.
That's true. Hard to keep up with all the names and the reading. That's why I like when Medic casts, so I can learn what they're called too.
He knows the name for absolutely everything.
He does.
And the passive numbers.
He's a legend.
He even knows something about fish as well, I heard.
Well, that, yeah, I don't want to get into that, man. It's hard to follow on that one. But respect to him for having his philosophical debates live on cast.
I wonder how he learns them. He just sits there. He's like, you know what? I want to learn some random
facts. He did go to med school, so I imagine there is a lot of knowledge that was once useful to him that is now useless, which might include what a fish is. Don't know. Haven't been to med school.
High five. Oh my god, there's a barrier. Anyway, Markoon's going to start up Drake after the full clear. It's good to be back.
It's good to be back.
Pops the pink in the river brush, bot push of course. And yeah, that should be an easy dragon for XL. Winning bot side 3v3 always basically means you get an early Drake. If you kind of get the setup for it and you don't take any bad base in bot lane, most of the times your tempo should always be good for a Drake. Past level 5 after the jungler has done his second clear. And now looks like Misfits bot lane wants a base. I don't think Neon can take a base there if Patrik just fast pushes in the wave. But what we've seen throughout the game is just Advienne running up and down the river. Pushes in bot, moves mid, Nukeduck safe. Markoon can get crab, Markoon can get dragon, and that's just the value of bot prior.
Yeah, and you saw a blue gun there for Patrik, just allows him to sustain that push solo while Advienne can kind of just wait pretty far distance away supporting jungler. And important to note here, that's the first dragon that Misfits have lost. They've been super on top of early objective control. And a lot of that, I think, has to come from, in my experience, good practice, good coaching, because that's the most reliable thing that you can practice in scrims are first dragons, first herald, first towers, these early game plays. And it feels like Misfits have been executing so consistently, but for the first time this season, XL taking something away from them.
Yeah, I would imagine it kind of comes down to draft that loss of the dragon. I guess the question is, what did Misfits get on the other side? Shlatan will get a top crab, won't be able to deny any camps from Markoon because it's too early in the game, and Finn is just too mobile to lock up and kill, right? If you look at Misfits' CC across the board, the only real setup they have is in bot lane. Pre-6, after 6, maybe Shlatan can make some plays of his own, but he can't really gank top level 4, level 5 as a Lee Sin. There's really nothing to lock the Graves down. He should be able to kite them out. And Finn is just going to keep this top push now that he has the Noon Quiver picked up. HiRit building the plated steel caps, of course, against Graves in Zhao. That does make him very hard to kill.
And I think it's really good that you bring up Engage, because I think when we look at the side of XL, again, so many strong champions on their composition, but they don't have that reliable way to just start a fight outside of a Xin Zhao dashing in. Maybe, just maybe, you can land that ult from Vex from downtown, hit a big multi-man fear, but it's not a Gragas. It's not the immediate reliable go button like a Leona. And I'll just flag that right now. I don't think it's an issue yet, but if we get to these later game stages, as XL often have, and the gold's pretty even, and it comes down to this big 4v4, 5v5, I think that's something that they really struggled with in week 1. And while I respect not drafting for the easiest option, not drafting for the simplest option, I want to see if it's going to be an issue when we move later into the game.
Yeah, I think a lot of people look at point-and-click Engage and CC, and they try to think to themselves if it will work. I think the best way to think of Engage, hang on, as HiRit's going to fight Finn here. Not much will happen, I believe, though, unless HiRit pops the Ghost.
It's going to be ulti. Ghost now coming out. It's going to be all the stacks going in. Forcing the flash out, at least from Finn. Flash for Ghost. Overall, a positive trade for HiRit.
Oh, yeah, definitely. He can push in now, but XL is actually on the Herald. I'll hold my point for now as they started up. Misfits are around to contest. Level 5 on Leona, though, so we'll see if Mersa wants to walk up.
Mersa now stepping forward. Fear going in. Big damage onto the Leona. Follow-up not quite there from Nukeduck here. Waiting off to the side. Mersa taking lower and lower. Shlatan now ready for a kick-in. Is going to go to finish off the jungler. Leaps into the pit, but he smites Markoon. It's a clean smite to stay standing. HiRit now trying to leap in, but the flash is still there. Finn going to be in trouble. Can he make it back out over the wall? It's an absolute mess. Patrik is here first, but Neon has the rocket. If the Herald resets, it might not be that bad, but this is a disaster for the side of Misfits.
Drakos, what the hell is going on? Everyone's getting away on 1 HP. XL can't find a single kill, but in the end, they get HiRit. Finn was fighting him in the pit. Rocket's coming in. I don't think it's gonna steal it. It will cancel Patrik's base though, so how many plates can Neon get on this bot tower is the biggest question, because he's the only one who's not in this fight. Shlatan's looking to cancel bases again. Is he gonna cancel Patrik? No, he's not. He's just gonna go for this top crab. And Neon, I believe he got 1 plate in bot. We'll see if he gets a second, but the trade-off is always gonna be worth it for XL.
Shlatan, very casual fadeaway Q there to finish the crab, but yeah, that's 1 plate, Caedrel. That is what we like to call a bad deal.
Yeah, because, I mean, Patrik's already halfway to bot lane, you know. If Patrik was stuck top and he had no wave to play on and he was chunked out and he was forced back, and if Neon got 3 or 4 plates, it's actually a losing play for XL because the amount of XP and gold that the Jinx would get, but in this case, very beneficial for XL. So let's look at what happened here, because I think Mersa should have just died here instantly. Looked like held the ult because of the execute damage, but he missed it as Mersa flashed away. It hit Vetheo, and then Markoon looks for more. Shlatan's kick here, really confusing. I'm not sure if he was trying to kick flash him into HiRit, but in the end, he goes into the pit. Finn arrives first, Shlatan's forced out, and then as HiRit dashes in, now he's stuck in the pit, and all of XL are around him.
Maybe hoping that the kick would keep him locked into the wall instead of sending him over the wall. Hard to be certain for sure, but either way, kicking him into the only thing that can keep him alive in this case, smiting the Herald, is a pretty big feels bad, man.
Yeah, definitely is. And just go to back my point about Engage that you were talking about there. Just put yourself in the shoes of Vetheo. You're playing Viktor, you're in mid lane, you're fighting a dragon fight. What are you scared of, right? What is he realistically scared of? A hook? Maybe a gravity gun ult from Patrik, or maybe Nukeduck trying to find a flank on him. The only real thing he has to care about is getting hit by a skill shot from a distance. Whereas if you're playing, you know, Patrik's role, you have to be very wary of where Lee Sin is. You have to be very wary of where Mersa is for engages. And then obviously with the positioning of the carries for follow-up. So the threat on Misfits carries is quite minimal. The only difference is XL have a decent amount of frontline in the Xin Zhao to peel and buy time for Patrik to start moving forwards. That's just one of the things you can think of when you're thinking of Engage. Just put yourself in the carry shoes and what would you really feel threatened by. But anyway, XL going to move down towards his bot side. Dragon up in 20 seconds. They have the Herald as well, and they have full bot side vision. Look at that. Spot out almost everything in their jungle. See if they get deep rewards. Advienne has 1 right now.
I like it. I like playing towards Patrik more and more. Something we've just consistently seen and kind of expect to see from XL at this point. Finn functioning very well on an island. Interestingly, Nukeduck also very good on an island. Only about 7% jungle proximity early on. Neon has to be careful stepping forward here. You can see the casual swap to the purple gun. That ultimate, really easy setup. Neon, of course, has the cleanse. But I think Excel would just hope to finish the playoff instead. Starting the second Dragon. Right now, Misfits don't have any vision in the area. Vetheo just clearing it out. Has to get the mid push back before he can contest. So it feels like, honestly, very clean play coming out from Excel here in the early game.
Yeah, it is clean play, but Misfits aren't really answering with anything. The only thing they've gotten this whole game long is one plate in bot when Excel had 5 members top. Here it's forced out Finn's flash, but Shlatan hasn't really found anything in this early game, and you can't really blame Misfits for not contesting, right? Viktor needs to scale. Vex is extremely strong in skirmishes. XL have full vision around the objective. They have pushing lane in bot, and they're using it well. I think it's important to note that XL is playing through bot, right? They have the push. Jungle's going through the lane into river and bringing them with him, holding hands. Look at Advienne and Markoon. Shlatan and Mersa haven't really teamed up much. We'll see Mersa come towards the river now, but Shlatan's on the top side. Feels like XL are just communicating well, playing together, and Misfits don't really have an answer just yet.
And this is one of the reasons that I love the Thresh pick, especially. We'll hold that thought as the Herald's going to get used here, see if there's going to be any more follow-up past the first few plates. Shlatan in the area will just be the initial charge, so a bit more gold in the back pocket of Excel, keeping them in a 300 lead alongside the 2 Drakes. But what I love about the Thresh here is Advienne sits on the Scuttle Crab, goes between mid, goes between bot lane, and as long as he has the Lantern up, Mersa's never going to feel 100% confident to pull the trigger, because right now Jinx just doesn't have that much burst damage. It's going to take 2-3 seconds to kill Patrik. By the time Advienne comes in with the Lantern, he's going to be out safely.
Yeah, exactly. He has to cleanse as well, so he can just clear waves in their face with the Lantern, and you're completely right. Advienne moving up and down this river is so crucial because Misfits can't control bot side river, which means they can't contest Drakes. So what does Shlatan do? He has to do something top side, but Finn's just clearing waves. They don't really have any dive threat. As I say that, Shlatan's around now, but for the last 13 minutes, it hasn't really felt like XL dominate one side of the map. Misfits don't really dominate top side at all.
Yeah, and now Shlatan's going to be in trouble because Markoon is in the area, ready to contest, so he will grab away the big Krug, will allow HiRit to push in, but just going to donate some Krugs over to the side of Finn, and Finn not going to be feeling too bad. Has farmed very, very comfortably in this lane.
Yeah. I mean, XL aren't really only about 500 gold up, and that's not really the biggest deal here. The biggest deal is the fact that XL have pushing lanes, and they have 2 dragons under their belt already. 13 minutes in. They could be looking at around a 21-22 minute soul if Misfits don't start pulling the trigger soon. I think the Viktor will have double upgrades as well coming in soon. Mythic almost built. Will have level 11 on his ultimate, of course, 2 points. So Misfits do have a lot of firepower. They just need to find an angle.
Well, and in a game like this, you have to feel like Excel definitely want to get the setup first. Much easier for them to fight if Misfits are forced to fight into them. Same is true for Misfits, though, with the Viktor. Would much rather have Excel try to leap onto them, especially with the lack of engage options, as we highlighted, or reliable engage options, as we highlighted earlier. That said, Neon and Mersa now pushing in. You've got Shlatan standing behind them. Markoon waiting over the wall. This could be something.
Could be, as they set up. Now, crucially, Patrik doesn't have his mythic item. Neon does have a Gale Force. The amount of tempo Misfits have in this bot side is fantastic for them, because now Patrik's forced to base, Mersa can retake control of the river, Shlatan can finish his buff and come down towards the bot side. Plates are gone, so Misfits could threaten the tower here, and now Markoon has to show on the wave and clear it out, so that helps all your lanes out. And just looking at Vetheo CS after this mid-wave, he'll be sitting at about 170 CS at 14 minutes, doing a little bit of chovying here in the LEC.
And I think Vetheo is an important guy to watch because while Nukeduck gets almost no attention, Vetheo gets a ton of it. More than 20% of Shlatan's time has been dedicated to Vetheo. This is something we saw Misfits adapt to last season when they started really succeeding in the second half of summer. It was all that attention spent mid lane on Vetheo. Now, he doesn't need a Zoe, he doesn't need the Akali anymore as we've gotten used to. Much more comfortable on a control mage. That said, we have to see what he can do with this lead, what he can do with those numbers on a champion that isn't as proactive like the Viktor.
Completely right, but Advienne finds HiRit here.
Not going to go in. Lantern comes over the wall. Flay backwards. Quick and early ignite. Going to be crucial there to stop the healing coming in from the Gwen. Here just getting chipped away at. Now running out with the Ghost, but will not be enough.
Oh, it's a disaster for Misfits. They should know that they're all playing topside. Look at the minimap right now. Misfits, 4 members topside. HiRit should know he's weak side. Nukeduck's hitting bot tower, so let's see what Misfits can do on the opposite side of the map. They've lost Drakes, now they've lost the kill. They've lost the bot tier 1. They're going to get a Herald. They should get a top tower, but still their wave isn't here yet. Nukeduck's hitting bot tier 2. I wonder if he can pick that up. If they trade 2 towers for... Nope, it's still full HP. I saw him down there for a while. He must have been just clearing the wave. He's going to base. He has TP. We'll see if Misfits get this top tier 1. Herald, of course, can be used for mid tower later on, but positive trade again for XL.
And we've seen so much of the meta so far in the LEC be about these slow, steady, positive trades, culminating in these massive, unstoppable advantages. And right now, XL are the ones coming out on top in every trade. 2K gold lead, it's just continuing to grow. They've got the double Drakes, 40 seconds to the next one, and you can see Aphelios already looking to take control of mid. Pings and Vision on the bottom side. XL, cookie cutter, but incredibly clean game of League of Legends.
Oh yeah, definitely is. And Misfits need to get to this dragon soon. Look at the deep vision that they have, and Neon is still top. Finn has TP to cheat and get to bot. think Neon's going to have to run all the way from top to mid to bot. We'll see if they can contest this dragon. Nukeduck's looking for HiRit right now. I think he's just going to push out the wave. XL have control of the bot side of the dragon. This mid wave they might lose though. Here, hang on,
Advienne. Mersa looking for the catch out. The hook not going to connect. Shlatan in the area. Maybe they can get a fight kicked off here. Markoon holding on the ultimate. Lantern comes out.
Misfits could just go mid here. They have Herald, they're going to pop it. Neon could hit the tower and just call XL's bluff here. Play for tier 2 mid, get a lot of gold for his team, but lose the dragon. What's the trade-off? Looks like Misfits going for the fight.
Waiting in the area, waiting for him to go over the wall. Leaps over and follows him right back. Rocket going in, but will not connect. Finn still standing strong. That's the power of the shield bow. Dragon getting lower and lower. 800 health. Markoon going to steal that one away. XL, are they going to fish for the fight? Markoon just using the ultimate to buy space. Clean use of the lantern. I love this Thresh pick.
Wow, Misfits is really getting nothing in these fights. They can't get a pick onto Finn, he gets away. They can't get the mid tower with Herald because Finn clears the wave. They're too late to the dragon because of these plays. So now they're 17 minutes into the game, and they're facing a dragon soul already in 4 minutes.
Oh, and it's Chemtech soul.
Hextech.
Or Hextech soul, rather. God, every time.
You gotta see.
I know. The
Hextech one is really cool. It's like being in an amusement park because you get to take the portal.
I know what it does. I just keep calling it the wrong
Look, Mersa's gonna take the ride.
You can tell it's like the 8th time he's had to correct me on that because he's had to start describing it to me like a child.
No, the funnest part of this is like when everyone's in a really intense dragon fight and one guy takes the portal across the dragon and everyone's staring at each other really intensely. It's 40 minutes and one guy just like, whee! And looking for the flank. God, I love the portals. They're really funny. But I do always forget to take them from base. I run out of base on autopilot, and I always forget to take the portal.
Sure, I was going to talk about the soul with so many champions who like these auto attacks, this kind of static shiv-esque effect. That's what I was... Regardless, I like your Wii story too. That's great. I'm glad. We'll keep it going. Patrik, of course, solid pressure here in the mid lane. Markoon and Advienne waiting in the darkness, ready to fish for a pick here. Gale Force, Flash, Cleanse still up for Neon, so more likely than not, if they are able to land anything, it'll just be burning a few cooldowns.
God, it's a bit of a slow game, but XL just stacking up the neutral objectives and have 2 kills. Misfits haven't really done anything, and XL are just running away with it right now. I mean, the positive for Misfits right now is good scaling on your carries. Viktor and Jinx, 4, 5, 6 items, however many past 2, they're incredibly strong. Second one is Vetheo's farm. Really chovying here. Almost 19 minutes in, coming up towards 230 CS. I mean, the farming's going good, but there's still 3 minutes ticking on the clock. And Misfits are yet to get a single tower.
Caedrel, never mind. We'll see if this gank comes to fruition. XL, obviously.
What's that?
Finn, solid lead on the top side. Misfits still looking to respond. Did you ever watch Mean Girls?
No.
Oh, well, I can't make this reference.
You had a reference? You had a joke ready? No, I haven't seen it. I'm sure.
I was like, you can't stop trying to make chovying happen. It's not going to happen.
Why?
Well, that's the reference. You don't understand.
Okay. No, I don't get the rest, so I don't get it. But someone gets it, though, right?
But someone out there will understand
but not
my
me.
outdated pop culture references. Thank you. Anyway, Misfits pushing it on the top side. Finn finally going to have to leave a wave. You might have noticed that his CS numbers are crazy. So bringing us back to focus, well, Misfits will grab this tower, relatively uncontested. They do burn a lot of resources to do it and could put Neon in a difficult situation. That said, Finn, very big individual lead. Oh, leaping in. But
I like it. I like the try there. Advienne trying to play Spider-Man, Hex Flash over and then hook through the creeps on a route. There's some kind of communication there. Hey, if I Gale Force forwards and root him, can you Hex Flash and hook him? Yeah, we can try. It doesn't work out in the end, but yeah, positive for Misfits. They got a tower so far. Still 2 minutes on this dragon. I think the biggest thing for both teams now is get as strong as possible before the dragon spawns. Get all waves, get everything you can, don't get caught, save all summoners. Neon losing that cleanse could come to bite him in 2 minutes. We'll see.
Certainly could. Patrik continuing to step forward with a lot of confidence there. Mersa waiting in the darkness, but Excel, so many members stacked up here. Could be big. The hook out coming over the wall. Big fire back damage as Markoon goes in. Advienne still standing strong. Rocket goes in from downtown. Neon will find the kill.
1-for-1 support trade. Look at the waves though. What can XL play on? There's nothing right now. Nukeduck's just going to go bot and catch the wave. And HiRit's going to push out top. No TPs invested. Just a 1-for-1. Vetheo's going to back off.
Caedrel, I feel like we're witnessing a pretty good back and forth macro game. But I would really appreciate it if someone would just fight someone.
Someone just Thresh it! Mersa tries to get some vision here because his team wants to get this mid-tier 1. And I think Advienne cancels his recall here, does he? Ooh, last second cancel, gets the hook. And then the rocket from downtown secures the kill. Knockback away from Vetheo. And, oh, dude, that reminds me of something, that rocket. It was from something.
Is it your favorite show?
Yeah, it is, dude.
Is it your favorite show?
How did you know that, Drakos? Oh my god,
we're on the same page. Okay.
Don't spoil it, though.
Okay, all right. Yeah. Speaking of Arcane, Hextech Drake, got it right this time. 50 seconds away and counting. See exactly what's going to happen here. That said, Caedrel, I'm surprised Misfits have not been able to find more picks and more engages, and I just want to give more credit to Excel. Now, ultimately, they have to close this game out because they don't have a big gold lead. They just have these 3 Drakes to their name, but it's been a solid early game, and if they're going to improve on last week's performance, we need to see them transition this to something bigger, and now there's a TP on the bottom side. We might just see a fight.
That's very important to note. XL don't have a huge gold lead. It's just the Dragons. If they get the soul, that's massive. That's the gold lead they're going to get from it. So this fight could blow open the game. Advienne already respecting just a single Lee Sin Q, a single Jinx W. Doesn't want to get caught out before the Dragon spawns. 8 seconds on this spawn. No waves to play on, so it's just going to be a raw 5v5. Who can find the engage first? Remember, XL's engage is quite difficult to get onto a target.
Patrik has to be careful about walking into those pinches, but Misfits are kind of just backing off. They don't want to push too hard here. Instead, getting mid lane priority first. It means XL are going to be able to start this Drake up pretty easy. Nukeduck, passive charge, Fear ready to
50,
go.
50. Maybe Shlatan can kick away Markoon.
Go for Shlatan. Markoon now knocking him in. Keep your eyes on the Dragon, but the Dragon might not even matter. Instead, the jungler just going to be picked off. Markoon flashing over the whole safety. HiRit doing so much damage, pairing up with Vetheo, and the storm will be more than enough to start knocking down XL. But Patrik remains standing. Markoon remains standing. That's going to be the snare. Is he going to go for it? 1,200 health, 600. Misfits taking back the Dragon, the only objective that mattered in that fight, but now they might get a couple kills to back it up as well. So many low health bars.
Vetheo?
Vetheo going in, the flash forward to kill Patrik. Now Shlatan in the midst of the entire team. Finn stands strong, but not strong enough. Double for Vetheo.
One team fight breaks the game open for Misfits. They were patient all game long, and they knew they were playing the games on a knife edge on just 1 Dragon left, but they got the fight. 5 kills for Misfits. Not a single member drops, I believe, and now they're going to all run out towards the top side. Clean 5 for O Ace, and this all came off the back of HiRit's just positioning in the raw fight. Markoon tries to disengage and finish the Dragon. Then we see the turn from Mersa onto Nukeduck to buy time, and look at HiRit. Leona ult, massive stack up, just melts all of XL, and from there, with the numbers advantage, they close out the fight.
Leona ult, Viktor ult, and a Gwen stacked on top of it. Certainly a recipe for a winning team fight for Misfits. And it looked for a moment here like XL might be able to turn it, but no, not only will they give up a Drake, no!
That was close.
Bloodwater.
I saw 300 HP. Okay.
But that's the thing. We just went from a game where it felt like XL were in total control, playing at the exact pace that they wanted to play at, to now massive gold deficit, no soul, and a Baron buff on the opposite side. Misfits' turn in this game was incredible.
Oh, it definitely wasn't. They just waited for their opportunity. HiRit waited. The Leona just turning instantly onto Nukeduck, waiting for the stack, and then commits the ult onto 3 members instead of just singling out Nukeduck. And that's just the power of scaling. That's the power of 2 items. That's the power of team fights past 20 minutes. You lose a fight, 5-0, it doesn't matter how good your early game was. That's it, Baron, and they're going to retake all objectives on the map. Tier 1s will fall, Misfits will get all 3 outers, and it's just a lot of standing gold on the map for them.
And it's so difficult now, too, because you've got 2.5 items on Jinx. She's only getting stronger. And again, the execution in fights feels like it had to be flawless from XL anyway, and it doesn't get easier when your enemy team has this big of a lead.
And as good as Misfits play it, the fight, the gold lead was even. But if you just weigh up the difficulty of comp like we talked about, XL single target damage, have to single out a target with a hook, with a Vex ult, try to find someone and actually get onto their carries perhaps with the Vex, whereas Misfits just massive AoE with the Gwen ult, with the Viktor ult, the threat of a Lee Sin kick. Neon is so long range with 2 items with Rapid Fire and Gale Force that who on XL is really threatening the carries. They can just walk up, Vetheo can flash forwards and kill your AD carry, and you can't trade off. So what are they really scared of if they siege your towers now?
And I think it's always oversimplifies things just to look at draft, but I do want EU fans to keep your eyes on this Vex pick, because I think we continue to see it not really be able to impact reliably in those hugely clutch moments. That said, still lots of time, still opportunities to turn. Only a single member locked up. That's Leona. Nukeduck going in. He's only going to be able to fear 1. Shlatan out to the side fighting Finn. The Q will go a little bit wide. Misfits standing strong as they push in on the bottom side. XL burn a few cooldowns, but they will get nothing else.
That's the kind of engage XL will do. They'll use a gravity gun to follow up with a hook, to follow up with some more CC from the Zhao, or they'll use a hook to use a gravity gun. That's kind of how they do it. They lock onto one target and then try to pull them into XL and just assassinate him with the Vex follow-up, with the Graves follow-up. This time around it didn't work. HiRit was able to get away. Bot tier 2 is gone. Mid tier 2 is gone. 5 towers picked up for Misfits already now. They're threatening the tier 3 bot.
Should be able to break this one down. And again, XL really do not have the tools to stop this push. They can stop HiRit's push and really only HiRit's push. Nukeduck standing off to the side, maybe hoping to fish to find a pick onto HiRit so they can force a 5v4, but instead, Misfits feels like they just walk into XL's base. XL without any quick way to pull the trigger means Misfits walk in, slowly but surely break tier 2, break tier 3, break the inhibitor, and walk away unscathed.
Yeah, look at Neon, level 15 on Jinx. He's the same level as the top laners right now. 270 CS at 26 minutes in. Vetheo still really high CS numbers as well. Incredibly good scaling on both of these carries. And yeah, Botanib already gone. 1 minute on Dragon. Still XL sold. If they can get some setup, steal the Dragon, that's a soul forever. That's a lot of gold value in terms of damage stats for teamfights. So still a sign of hope there for XL. But they need to make sure they secure it, but also not lose the game trying.
It's really hard. Because there's a world, and you can describe a scenario, no doubt in my mind, where XL will take a big fight, but it certainly does not get any easier. Objective bounty is going to be pretty big. There's still a 5k gold deficit, but it'll be nice to have. Advienne waiting in the darkness here, revealing himself. Looks like they want to try to force a fight onto HiRit. HiRit has not burned the dash yet. Will be forced to burn it down.
Tries to get the hook, but Gwen is immune. Also slightly missed a bit. Did use the ignite as well. Tried to commit to get the kill. TP coming in from Vetheo to keep up tempo towards mid. No objectives on the map still. 20 seconds on the Dragon. No ignite for the Thresh, and XL have the base. They were all topside looking for a pick, and now they're going to have to walk into Misfits to retake control of this Dragon. I think they're just going to have to drop it.
And I'm sorry, you can't walk into a Viktor that's this fed.
Oh,
There's no champion on XL's lineup that does not get one shot. Finn with a full Bloodthirster shield maybe can survive a rotation, but will die shortly after. So XL not going to come, not interested in contesting that one. It's not soul point yet. They don't really have to worry about it. But that said, you can see how quickly this game has flipped. It was that single fight at the last Dragon, and we went from XL in control, slow and steady, to Misfits in total control, so XL running out of options.
Because you telling me Misfits had one shot? One opportunity to seize everything that they kind of wanted.
Or just let it slip. But they did capture it.
They did capture it, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Just wanted to check.
It would seem to me that their knees are not weak. There is no sweat. This has been...
Who made the spaghetti?
Well, honestly, hard to say at this point. Is Young Buck making the spaghetti? Who's making the spaghetti? Ryan certainly makes a lot of spaghetti.
That's true.
Bring the square back. No, I'm kidding.
Where's my square button? I can't draw squares, Drakos. Look, it turns into an oval.
It's supposed to look nice, so we can't mess it up on the air. It's not meant for squares. Misfits pushing in on the top side. Advienne just, you know, fishing for the cheeky hook and don't even need the Baron buff, but this is the flank. Nukeduck.
Where's the engage,
They're going to spot Nukeduck coming, though. This is going to be hard. It's going to be hard. He doesn't have the fear ready either. Vetheo just going to flash in to do a bunch of damage. Nukeduck can go for the follow-up. We'll have the fear. The silence now coming out. Nukeduck going to be forced to walk away and is just going to die. Nukeduck will teleport in to die. Oh, Shlatan going in, fishing for his big moment. It's his time to shine, but he's just going to go down. He's going to get Advienne, and it might have been unnecessary, but at least it looked cool.
As a Lee Sin connoisseur myself, there was a 4-man kick there somewhere. I think Shlatan got chain CC, he didn't get his kick flash off. Unlucky that the one target he gets out of all those 4 members of XL stacked up is the Thresh, but still, I think Misfits are just so far ahead. Look at Neon.
Yep. Gale forcing forward, absolutely no fear. Might cost him his life. Leona trying to zone him away here. Clean flash
Misfits
out. Patrick's still pretty strong. Does deserve a little bit of respect here, but Misfits playing slow, playing steady. Just going to break down another inhibitor. Third inhibitor for Misfits. It's massive. 8k gold in the lead. Feels like we're waiting on one more nail for this coffin for XL.
Yeah, definitely. Misfits getting a little bit ahead of themselves there. Shlatan trying to make some kind of 4-man kick super play. And you can't really fault XL for the play. Like, they've lost bot inhib, they're going to lose top inhib, mid inhib will shortly fall afterwards. But where's the engage? They really can't get onto anyone. Nukeduck's behind them. Great, we're TPing behind and... Oh yeah, we can't follow up, sorry. And then here, Shlatan, there is a 4-man kick here. I can see it. I can see it, Drakos. He just needs a kick flash Patrik, and it's a banger. Trust me, it's in every montage you'll ever see, but it didn't work. But I respect him for going for it.
I think, yeah. You're such a Lee Sin apologist. That's what that feels like to me.
Every time the Lee Sin goes in and it doesn't work out, I'll find a way to make it look like it could have worked out.
Yes. The true hallmark of a Lee Sin enthusiast, we'll say.
My mind's telling me.
Yeah.
Well, that Q, you gotta go in.
Yeah, disaster. Felt like the second Nukeduck was spotted on vision. There was nothing for that fight. But maybe here, XL can get something done. Shlatan waiting over the wall to kick Markoon away if he tries to contest. Here, Neon more than strong enough to duo clear this.
They really can't walk in. There's too much damage on Misfits. Nukeduck doesn't even have summoners, so yeah, he can't really walk up. They're just gonna have to catch waves, but you're catching... And catching waves is great, but not when you're 3 inhibs down against the Baron. Those waves aren't catching... You're not catching the waves are catching you at that point.
Yeah.
So I think Misfits just going to buff all 3 lanes, and XL is just going to get kind of herded into their nexus. They have to fight eventually. Patrik might be in trouble.
Caught out here, has the Gale Force, can dash away. He's going to wait. Mersa trying to predict there, it looks like, so not going to find anything. Patrik will get slowed down, but there's no follow-up. Feels like this should be it. One final fight for Excel. Patrik, the
look at the
most
damage.
important member. Advienne Gale Forcing, or not Gale Forcing, sorry, Hex Flashing in. Gale Force out. Gale Force Thresh will not come to fruition, but there it is. Big damage. Patrik now flashing forward. Nice follow-up coming in. Vin off to the side. Can do big damage. Back in return. That's a shutdown. 200 years, baby. Where's it going to go? It's all falling away because there is the kick. There is the finish. Shlatan Lee Sin finally showing up in the 31st minute. A rocket. Gonna seal the deal on that one. And Misfits going for the triple.
Jinx.
Going for the will not be able to find it. Will they dive the Taxis? It does not look like it. That's going to be a Misfits win. That's going to be a 3-1.
Yeah, pretty clean game for Misfits. The second they got that one fight, from that point onwards, they were just dominating the game. Took all towers, took all the nibs, and denied the soul. Clean, simple, and easy. Good scaling from the champs. Really good comp overall.
All planned, some would say.
All planned. Yeah, easy clap, all planned.
Yeah. Caedrel, I don't know how to feel about that game. On the one hand, congrats to Misfits. On the other hand, Excel, how many times we're going to watch these games where you're neck and neck in the gold, you're so close, it feels like you're winning in small little bits here and there, but you can't find a bigger lead, a more meaningful lead. This is the team with the highest close percentage in the league. Almost 70% of the time they spend.
What's their percent?
68.6.
Oh, they need 0.4% more.
They do, don't they? That would be nice. Well, Vetheo, Neon, Mersa, at LEC on Twitter for your Kia player of the game. Let us know who you want to go for there.
My favorite character is Jinx, so I'd say Neon. But I'm biased, because, I mean, we talked about this earlier. But I won't spoil.
Okay. Well, Misfits move on to 3-1 with this win. And Laura's going to be joined by their rookie support, Mersa, after the break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more league content soon.
It's good to be back.
It is! Woo!